The room went silent when the human recognized the Predator Part 1. The gathering, the TÜV Diplomatic Hall, was the largest room Park Ji-soo had ever seen. It stretched out like a small city, with pillars made of white stone and a ceiling so high that clouds could have formed beneath it. Lights floated in the air without any wires. They moved slowly, like lazy fish in water. Ji-soo stood near a pillar and watched the aliens move around her. There were so many different kinds. Some were tall and thin with bodies like insects. Others were short and wide with wet skin that shined under the lights. A few had fur. Some had scales. One group seemed to be made entirely of light, and Ji-soo could see right through them. She was a xenobiologist. Her job was to study alien life. But right now, she was here as a cultural attaché. That was a fancy word for someone who helped humans talk to aliens without making them angry. It was harder than it sounded. Humans were new to the galaxy. They'd only been part of the Galactic Union for 12 years. Most alien species still looked at humans the way a person might look at a child who wandered into an adult party. Curious, a little annoyed, mostly uninterested. Ji-soo tried to smile at a group of Valari as she walked past. They were the tall insect ones. They had 6 legs and 2 arms, and their heads were shaped like triangles. Their big eyes followed her, and their mandibles clicked together nervously. They did not smile back. Ji-soo was not sure they could smile at all. She kept walking. The Marathi were easier to spot. They looked like large frogs standing on 2 legs. Their skin was blue and green, and they wore robes made of something that looked like wet silk. One of them, an elder named Counselor Bren, was speaking to a group of traders. He saw Ji-soo looking and quickly turned away. Ji-soo sighed. This was how it always was. Aliens did not hate humans. They just did not think humans mattered very much. Earth was a small planet on the edge of known space. Humans had no great technology to offer, no ancient wisdom, no powerful weapons. They were just another young species, trying to find their place. She looked around for a friendly face and found Kim Do-hyun standing near the main entrance. Do-hyun was the security officer assigned to their delegation. He was not very tall, but he had the kind of body that looked like it was made of stone. His face rarely showed emotion. He stood with his arms crossed and his back straight, watching everything and everyone. Ji-soo walked over to him. "You look bored," she said. "I am not bored," Do-hyun replied. His eyes did not stop moving. They swept across the room like searchlights. "I am watching." "Watching for what? A fight?" "Maybe." Ji-soo laughed softly. "This is a peace conference. Everyone here wants to make money, not war." Do-hyun did not answer. His eyes had stopped moving. They were fixed on something across the hall. Ji-soo followed his gaze. A new group had entered the room. They moved differently from the other aliens. The Valari walked with nervous, twitchy steps. The Marathi waddled slowly. But this new group flowed like water, smooth, silent, dangerous. There were 5 of them. Their bodies were long and sleek, covered in scales that seemed to eat the light around them. Their heads were narrow, with flat faces and eyes that reflected like mirrors. They had 4 arms and walked on 2 powerful legs. Every step they took was careful and controlled. Ji-soo felt something cold move down her spine. She did not know why. She had seen many alien species. Some were scary looking. Some were strange. But this was different. Something deep inside her brain, something very old, was telling her to run. "Who are they?" she asked quietly. "Karathi," Do-hyun said. His voice was flat, but Ji-soo noticed something. His hand had moved toward his hip. There was no weapon there. Security officers were not allowed to carry weapons at peace conferences. But his hand had moved anyway, like an old habit. I have never seen them before, Jisoo said. No one has. Not for decades. They keep to themselves. Do-hyun paused. Most species are happy about that. The Karathi walked to the center of the hall and stopped. Other aliens moved away from them without seeming to notice they were doing it. It was like watching fish swim around a shark. The leader of the Karathi group stood slightly ahead of the others. It was taller than its companions, and there was a pattern of silver marks on its scales. Its mirror eyes swept across the room. They stopped on the human delegation. They stopped on Do-hyun. Jisoo watched Do-hyun's face. For a moment, just a moment, she saw something there. His jaw tightened. His breathing changed. The muscles in his neck went hard. She had known Do-hyun for 2 years. She had seen him calm during emergencies. She had seen him face down angry aliens twice his size. She had never seen him look like this. He looked afraid. Do-hyun, she said softly. What is it? What do you see? He was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. I know what they are. What do you mean? They are Karathi. You just said that. No. He shook his head slowly. I mean, I know what they are. Their shape. The way they move. The way they watch. He finally looked at her. I have seen this before. Not in space. On Earth. In museums. In old bones. Jisoo did not understand. Old bones? Do-hyun looked back at the Karathi leader. The alien was still watching him. Neither of them blinked. They are predators, Do-hyun said. Real ones. And they just noticed us. The room went silent when the human recognized the predator. Part 2. The recognition. The room went silent when the human recognized the predator. Part 2. The recognition. The Leung's reception started 2 hours after sunset. Not that there was a real sunset on Station Meridian. The station floated in deep space, far from any star. But the aliens had created an artificial sky that slowly turned from blue to orange to black. It made the humans feel more at home. Jisoo was not sure if the aliens did this to be kind or to study how humans reacted to light. She stood near a table covered with strange foods. Some of them looked like fruit. Some looked like meat. A few looked like nothing she had ever seen before. She picked up something purple and round and sniffed it carefully. I would not eat that if I were you. Jisoo turned. Shin Yuna stood behind her, wearing a formal black suit and a tired smile. Yuna was the lead diplomat for the human delegation. She was small and thin, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Why not? Jisoo asked, still holding the purple thing. That is a Marathi egg. They serve them at parties as a sign of wealth. If you eat one, you insult their entire species. Jisoo put the egg down very quickly. Thank you for telling me. That is my job. Yuna looked around the room. Where's Do-hyun? Over there. Jisoo pointed to a dark corner near the wall. Do-hyun had not moved from that spot for the past hour. He stood alone, watching the room with his arms crossed. He has been strange all night. Strange how? Jisoo thought about it. Careful. More careful than usual. Like he is waiting for something bad to happen. Yuna frowned. This is supposed to be a peaceful meeting. 12 species. New trade agreements. Everyone should be happy. Tell that to him. They both looked at Do-hyun. Then they looked at what Do-hyun was looking at. The Karathi. The 5 aliens had taken a position on the other side of the room. They did not mingle with the other species. They did not eat or drink. They just stood there, still as statues, their mirror eyes reflecting the floating lights. They make everyone nervous, Yuna said quietly. Even the Valari. And the Valari are nervous about everything. Do-hyun said, he knows what they are. Yuna raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? Before Jisoo could answer, something changed in the room. The noise died down. Conversation stopped. Every alien in the hall turned to look at the same thing. The Karathi were moving. The leader walked slowly across the room. Its forearms hung loosely at its sides. Its legs moved with the smooth grace of a dancer. Or a killer. The other 4 Karathi stayed behind, watching. The leader walked directly toward the human delegation. Yuna straightened her spine. Jisoo took a step back without meaning to. Around them, aliens watched with wide eyes and held breath. The Karathi stopped 3 meters away. Up close, Jisoo could see details she had missed before. The scales on its body were not one color, but many. Black and gray and dark blue, shifting like oil on water. Its eyes had no pupils that she could see. They were pure silver, like polished metal. You are the humans. The voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. We are, Yuna said. Her voice did not shake. Jisoo was impressed. I am Shin Yuna, lead diplomat for Earth. This is Park Jisoo, our cultural attach. The Karathi did not look at Yuna. It looked at Jisoo. Then its eyes moved past her, toward the corner of the room. And that one? It asked. The one who watches? Everyone turned to look at Doyen. He had not moved from his corner. His arms were still crossed. His face was still calm. But Jisoo could see the tension in his shoulders. He looked like a spring that was about to snap. That is Kim Do-yun, Yuna said carefully. Our security officer. The Karathi made a sound. It might have been a laugh. Security. Yes, I see. It began to walk toward Do-yun. The room went completely silent. Jisoo held her breath. She wanted to call out, to warn Do-yun, but she could not find her voice. The other aliens watched with a mix of fear and curiosity. The Valari clicked their mandibles frantically. The Marathi pulled their robes tighter around their bodies. The Karathi stopped in front of Do-yun. They were almost the same height. The alien looked down at the human with its silver eyes. Do-yun looked back. He did not bow. He did not lower his gaze. He did not blink. He stared directly into the eyes of the predator. Jisoo heard a Valari make a sound of shock. Among many species, direct eye contact was a challenge. It was a way of saying, I am not afraid of you. I will fight you if I must. No one did this to a Karathi. No one was that stupid. But Do-yun did not look away. Seconds passed. Then more seconds. The silence was so heavy that Jisoo could hear her own heart beating. The Karathi tilted its head slowly, like a cat studying a mouse. But there was something else in the movement. Something Jisoo had not expected. Curiosity. You do not fear me, the Karathi said. No, Do-yun replied. His voice was steady. I do not. You should. I could kill you before your heart beats again. Maybe, but I would hurt you first. And you know it? Another long silence. The alien studied Do-yun with those mirror eyes. Then it made that grinding sound again. That strange laugh. Interesting, it said. Very interesting. Your species is small, soft, weak. The others told us you were prey animals. Barely worth noticing. But you... It leaned closer. You do not smell like prey. We are not prey, Do-yun said quietly. We never were. The Karathi pulled back. It looked at Do-yun for another moment. Then it turned and walked back to its group without another word. The noise in the room slowly returned. Aliens began talking again, but their voices were different now. Nervous. Confused. Yuna rushed over to Do-yun. What were you thinking? You could have started a war. No, Do-yun said. He was still watching the Karathi. I just told them the truth. What truth? Do-yun finally looked at her. His eyes were calm but serious. that we are not what they think we are. None of them know. None of them understand. He paused. But the Karathi is starting to wonder, and that makes them more dangerous, or more useful. Jisoo stepped closer. Doan, what are you talking about? What do you mean we are not prey? He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, come with me. Both of you. There is something I need to show you. Something you need to understand. He walked toward the exit. Jisoo and Yuna looked at each other. Then they followed. The room went silent when the human recognized the predator. Part 3. The Truth of Earth. The meeting room was small and quiet. 4 white walls. 1 table. 6 chairs. Jisoo sat on one side with Yuna. Dawson stood near the door, still watching, always watching. They were not alone. The Karathi leader had followed them. It had not asked permission. It had simply walked behind them through the halls of the station until they reached this room. Now it sat across from the humans, its forearms folded across its chest, its silver eyes fixed on Doyun. You requested privacy, the Karathi said. You have it. Now explain. Doyun looked at Yuna. Call Soo-yoon. Yuna pulled out a small device and spoke into it. A few minutes later, the door opened and a new human walked in. Big Soo-yoon was older than the others. She had gray in her hair and lines on her face. She carried a small bag over her shoulder and looked confused. What is this about? She asked. Then she saw the Karathi and stopped moving. Sit down, Doyun said. We need you to explain something. Soo-yoon sat down slowly. She could not stop looking at the alien. Explain what? Earth, our history, what we did. Soo-yoon was a historian. She studied the past of humanity. Old bones, ancient stories, things that happened long before humans went to space. She knew more about Earth's history than almost anyone alive. The Karathi leaned forward. Your friend challenged me. He looked into my eyes and did not flinch. No prey species does this. I want to know why. Soo-yoon looked at Do-young. He nodded. She took a deep breath and opened her bag. Inside was a small projector. She placed it on the table and turned it on. Light filled the room. An image appeared in the air above the table. It was a creature, big, powerful. It had huge teeth and strong legs and small arms. This is a dinosaur, Soo-yoon said. It lived on our planet millions of years ago. Before humans existed. The Karathi studied the image. A predator. I can see it in the shape. The teeth. The eyes. Yes, Earth was full of predators. For millions of years, they ruled our world. Then, Soo-yoon pressed a button. The dinosaur disappeared. New images took its place. Then things changed. The new images showed other creatures. A large cat with teeth like knives. A wolf as big as a horse. A bear that stood 3 meters tall. A bird with claws like swords. These lived at the same time as early humans, Soo-yoon said. We were small. We were weak. We had no claws. No fangs, no armor. By all logic, we should have died. But you did not, the Karathi said. No, we did not. Soo-yoon pressed another button. The images changed again. Now they showed bones. Old bones, lying in dirt and stone. These are fossils. The remains of all those creatures. Every one of them is dead. Extinct. Gone forever. The Karathi was silent for a moment. Then it asked a question that Jisoo had been dreading. You killed them? Soo-yoon nodded slowly. Some of them, yes. We hunted them. We were not stronger or faster, but we were smarter. We made weapons. We worked together. We followed our prey for days, weeks, until they were too tired to run anymore. We never stopped. We never gave up. Persistence hunting, Dayan said quietly. That is what it is called. Humans cannot outrun most animals, but we can outlast them. We can keep going long after other creatures collapse from exhaustion. The Karathi looked at him with new interest. You hunt by refusing to stop. Yes, Su-Yun continued. But hunting was only part of it. We also changed our world. We cut down forests. We built farms. We took the land that other animals needed to survive. We did not always mean to kill them. Sometimes we just replaced them. We took their food, their homes, their territory, and slowly, over thousands of years, they disappeared. She pressed the button again. The images showed a timeline. Creatures appearing and then vanishing, one after another, always after humans arrived in a new place. Everywhere we went, the big predators died. Australia, the Americas, Europe, Asia, every continent, every island. We moved in, and the apex predators moved out. Into extinction. The room was very quiet. The Karathi sat still for a long time. Its silver eyes moved from the images to the humans and back again. Your species, it said finally, made your world safe for yourselves. Yes, Su-Yun said. Not by hiding, not by running, not by submitting to stronger creatures. No, the Karathi leaned back. Jisoo could not read its expression. She was not even sure it had expressions like humans did. Every prey species in this galaxy survived by learning to avoid predators, the Karathi said. They develop fear, caution, the instinct to run. This is how prey survives. This is the natural order. Humans did not follow that order, Do-hyun said. No, you did not. The Karathi made that strange grinding sound again. You did something else. Something no other species has ever done. You looked at the predators that hunted you, and you decided that they should die instead. Jisoo felt a chill run through her. When the alien said it like that, it sounded terrible. It sounded like humans were monsters, but Do-hyun did not look ashamed. He looked the Karathi directly in the eyes. We did what we had to do to survive. We are not proud of all of it. We lost many beautiful creatures. We damaged our own world. We made mistakes that we are still trying to fix. He paused. But we are still here. And the things that hunted us are not. The Karathi was silent again. Then it stood up. All four of its arms unfolded. For a moment, Jisoo thought it was going to attack. Every muscle in her body wanted to run. But the Karathi did not attack. Instead, it did something strange. It lowered its head. Just a little. Just enough. I understand now, it said. When I looked at you earlier, I saw something I did not expect. I saw recognition. You knew what I was the moment you saw me. Not because someone told you. Because something in your blood remembered. Yes, Do-hyun said. Your ancestors killed creatures like me. Yes. The Karathi raised its head. Its silver eyes seemed brighter now. Then perhaps we have more to discuss than trade agreements. Perhaps we have something more important to talk about. It turned and walked toward the door. I will speak with my people. Tomorrow I will return. And we will see if the killers of predators can become something else. It left without another word. Jisoo let out a breath she did not know she was holding. What just happened? She asked Do-hyun sat down for the first time that night. He looked tired. We just told an apex predator that humans are not prey, he said. Now we wait to see what it does with that information. The room went silent when the human recognized the predator part 4. The challenge, the main assembly hall, was packed. Every species in the Galactic Union had sent representatives. They sat in rising rows around a central platform, like an ancient arena. The floating lights had dimmed to a soft glow. The air felt heavy with tension. Jisoo sat with the human delegation near the middle rows. Yuna was on her left, straight-backed and calm. Soo-yoon was on her right, clutching her bag of historical records. Do-hyun stood behind them, as always, watching everything. Something important was about to happen. Everyone could feel it. The Karathi delegation entered the hall. They walked in a single line, their dark scales reflecting the dim light. The leader was at the front. It moved to the central platform and stopped there, facing the assembled species. "I request to speak," the Karathi said. Ambassador Yellow, the Valari diplomat, clicked his mandibles nervously. He was in charge of the assembly today. "The floor recognizes the Karathi envoy." The Karathi looked around the room. Its silver eyes passed over every face, every species. When they reached the humans, they stayed there for a moment longer. "I have a proposal," the Karathi said. The Karathi people wish to form a security partnership with the human delegation. The hall exploded into noise. Valari clicked and buzzed in alarm. Marathi croaked to each other in their wet, bubbling language. Other species made sounds Jisoo could not even identify. The word impossible was repeated in a dozen different languages. Yellow raised his arms for silence. It took nearly a minute for the hall to calm down. "This is unexpected," Yellow said carefully. "The Karathi have never sought partnership with any species. Why now? Why humans?" "A fair question." The Karathi envoy folded two of its arms behind its back. The other two hung at its sides. "We have watched the younger species enter this union. Most of them are like the others. Prey animals who learn to build ships. They run from danger. They hide from threats. They survive by avoiding conflict." Some of the species in the room looked uncomfortable. A few looked angry, but none of them spoke. "Humans are different," the Karathi continued. "We did not understand this at first. They are small, soft. They have no natural weapons. We assumed they were like the rest. Weak creatures who got lucky." Jisoo felt her face grow hot. She wanted to stand up and argue, but Yuna put a hand on her arm, telling her to wait. "We were wrong." The hall went quiet again. "Last night, I spoke with the humans about their history. What I learned changed my understanding of this species completely." The Karathi turned to face the human delegation directly. These creatures did not survive by running. They did not hide. They did not submit to the predators that hunted them. The envoy paused. The silence was so deep that Jisoo could hear her own heartbeat. "They killed them. All of them. Every apex predator on their world. Gone. Extinct. Erased from existence." Noise erupted again. This time, it was different. Less angry, more confused. And under the confusion, Jisoo heard something else. Fear. "This is ridiculous," Councillor Bren said. The Marathi elder stood up, his blue-green skin shining under the lights. "Humans are newcomers. They have no great armies, no powerful weapons. They are barely out of their own solar system. You expect us to believe they are dangerous?" "I expect nothing," the Karathi replied calmly. "I am telling you what is true. Their planet was once ruled by predators far larger and more powerful than we are. Creatures that could crush a human with one foot. These creatures are gone. Humans remain. That proves nothing," Bren argued. "Extinctions happen for many reasons. Climate change, disease, asteroids. All true. But the extinctions on Earth followed a pattern. Wherever humans went, the large predators died. First in Africa, then in Europe and Asia, then in the Americas and Australia. Always the same. Humans arrive. Predators disappear." The Karathi looked around the room again. "You have been looking at humans and seeing prey. Soft skin, no claws. Weak bodies. You think you are safe, because they are weak. You are wrong. It pointed at the human delegation. These are not prey that learn to build ships. These are extinction that learn to walk. They do not run from predators. They do not hide from threats. They study them. They hunt them. And they do not stop until the threat is gone. Yellow spoke up, his voice shaking slightly. If this is true, then why would the Karathi want partnership with such a species? You are predators yourselves. Why ally with something that destroys predators? The Karathi made that grinding sound. It's strange, love, because we recognize what they are, and we would rather stand beside them than in front of them. The hall fell silent once more. Jisoo looked at Do-hyun. His face was still calm, but there was something in his eyes. Pride, maybe, or sadness. She could not tell. The Karathi envoy raised one of its arms. I call for a vote. Not on the partnership itself. That is between us and the humans. But on recognition. I propose that the Galactic Union formally acknowledge humanity as a predator species, not a prey species. This changes their status, their rights, their responsibilities. Bren croaked angrily. This is absurd. You can't simply change a species classification based on stories about bones. Can I not? The Karathi tilted its head. Then let me ask you something, counselor. When you look at the humans, what do you feel? Not what do you think. What do you feel? Bren opened his mouth to answer. Then he closed it. His wet eyes moved to the human delegation. To Do-hyun, standing there with his arms crossed and his eyes sharp. Bren looked away first. I thought so, the Karathi said softly. Your body knows the truth, even if your mind does not want to accept it. Humans are not prey. They never were. And the sooner this union understands that, the safer we will all be. It turned to face the human delegation one final time. The question is not whether we should fear humanity. The question is what they will do with the power they do not yet know they have. The vote happened an hour later. It passed. Jisoo sat in her seat and watched the numbers appear on the display. 70% in favor. Humanity was officially classified as a predator species. Around her, aliens looked at the human delegation with new eyes. Some looked curious. Some looked nervous. A few looked genuinely afraid. Yuna leaned close and whispered, "The galaxy just noticed us. Is that good or bad?" Jisoo asked. Yuna did not answer. Do-hyun walked up beside them. He watched the other species file out of the hall. Both, he said quietly. It is both. The room went silent when the human recognized the Predator Part 5. The new order 1 week had passed since the vote. Everything had changed. Jisoo stood at an observation window on the upper level of Station Meridian. The window was huge, stretching from floor to ceiling, giving a perfect view of the stars outside. Ships moved past in the distance. Cargo vessels, passenger cruisers, military escorts. The galaxy was busy, as always, but it felt different now. The treaty had been signed 3 days ago. The Karathi Human Security Partnership was official. Other species had watched the signing ceremony with a mix of confusion and worry. 2 predator species working together. It was something new. Something that had never happened before in Galactic Union history. And now everyone wanted to talk to humans. Yuna had been in meetings for the past 5 days straight. The Valari had offered technology exchanges. The Marathi had proposed joint research projects. Even species that Jisoo had never heard of before were suddenly sending messages, requesting audiences, asking for trade agreements. Humans were no longer the quiet newcomers standing in the corner. They were something else now. Something important. Jisoo was not sure how she felt about it. She heard footsteps behind her and turned. Do-hyun walked up and stood beside her at the window. He did not say anything at first. He just looked at the stars. Busy week, Jisoo said finally. Yes. Yuna says we have received more diplomatic requests in 7 days than in the previous 7 years. Dohyun nodded. Everyone wants to be friends with the new predators. Jisoo sighed. Is that what we are now? Predators? We always were. They just did not know it. She watched a cargo ship drift past the window. It was enormous, carrying goods from one side of the galaxy to the other. Somewhere on that ship were creatures she had never met, living lives she could not imagine. It feels strange, she said. All my life, I thought of humans as explorers, scientists, dreamers, people who went to space because we were curious about what was out there. She paused. I never thought of us as killers. Dohyun was quiet for a moment. Then he said, We are both. What do you mean? He turned to look at her. His eyes were calm, as always, but there was something deeper in them now. Something tired. Humans are not simple creatures. We are curious, yes. We want to explore. We want to learn. But we are also survivors. When something threatens us, we do not just defend ourselves. We make sure the threat cannot come back. That is not cruelty. It is survival. But we went too far, Jisoo said. Soo-yoon showed us. We destroyed so many species. We broke our own world. Yes, we did. Dohyun looked back at the stars. And we are still learning from those mistakes. That is what makes us different from most predators. We look back. We regret. We try to do better. Do you really believe that? I have to. Otherwise, what was the point? They stood in silence for a while. The stars continued to shine. The ships continued to move. The galaxy continued to turn dot. Then Jisoo heard new footsteps. She looked up and saw the Karathi envoy walking toward them. It moved with that same smooth, dangerous grace. But there was something different about it now. Something almost relaxed. It stopped beside them and looked out the window. A beautiful view, it said. Its voice was still rough like grinding stones, but the words were soft. It is, Jisoo agreed. The three of them stood together, watching the stars. Human, predator, or maybe 3 predators. Jisoo was not sure anymore. Your people have a word, the Karathi said after a while. I have been thinking about it. What word? Dohyun asked. Responsibility. The alien was quiet for a moment, as if thinking about how to explain. In Karathi culture, we take what we want. We hunt. We kill. We do not worry about what comes after. If prey runs out, we move to new hunting grounds. If other species get in our way, we remove them. This is how we have always been. That sounds lonely, Jisoo said. The Karathi made its grinding laugh. Perhaps. We have never thought about it that way. But your species is different. You kill, yes. You are dangerous, yes. But you also care. You worry about the things you have destroyed. You try to fix what you have broken. You feel responsible for the damage you cause. It turned to look at Dohyun. This is strange to us. We do not understand it. But we find it interesting. Dohyun met its eyes. We learned the hard way. We killed too many creatures on our world. We almost destroyed our own home. When we finally realized what we had done, we decided to change. Some of us, at least. And did you? Change? We are trying. Every day. It is hard. We still make mistakes. But we keep trying. The Karathi was silent for a long time. Perhaps that is why we wanted this partnership, it said finally. Not because you are dangerous. We already knew you were dangerous. But because you are dangerous and you still try to be better. That is something we have never seen before. Jisoo felt something warm in her chest. Pride, maybe. Or hope. What will you do now? She asked. Your people, will this partnership change you? The Karathi looked back at the stars. I do not know. We are old creatures with old habits. Change is not easy for us. But you have shown us something new. A different way to be a predator. It paused. Perhaps we will learn. Perhaps not. But we are willing to try. Do-hyun nodded slowly. That is all anyone can ask. They stood together at the window. 3 creatures from different worlds, different histories, different natures. But all of them were looking at the same stars. All of them were thinking about the same future. The galaxy is watching us now, Jisoo said quietly. What do you think they see? The Karathi made its strange laugh again. They see 2 species of predators standing together. They see something new, something they do not understand. It looked at Jisoo with its silver eyes. They see the future, and they are afraid. Good, Do-hyun said. Fear is healthy. It keeps people careful. And you? Are you afraid? Do-hyun thought about it. No, he said finally. I am not afraid. I am hopeful. Hopeful for what? He looked at Jisoo, then at the Karathi, then back at the stars. Hopeful that we can be better than we were. That we can use our power for something good. That we can protect instead of just destroy. He paused. Hopeful that extinction can learn mercy. The Karathi tilted its head. A strange hope for a predator. Maybe. But we are strange predators. The alien made its grinding laugh one more time. But this time, it sounded almost warm. Yes, it said. You are. The 3 of them stood at the window as ships flew past and stars shined in the endless dark. The galaxy had taken notice of humanity. The old order was changing. A new future was beginning. And for the first time, Jisoo thought maybe that was a good thing. The end.